So all those TF2 Overwatch skits I've been making are loosely based on a fanfiction I've been writing over the course of several years and never post. Like, I'll write everything down in my Google Drives and drafts and notes and everything like that, and then I just, won't post it. So if you like reading fanfiction, go check it out. It's called Overtime. If you don't, I'm gonna give you a brief description on what happens in the first couple of chapters. Or how they got together, how this happened, because there has to be a reason for them to get into shenanigans to begin with. The story starts in the year 2074. Winston is doing some research for Tracer. He's trying to find a way to replicate her chronal disassociation in order to give her a more permanent solution to her problem rather than wearing that accelerator thing all the time. Obviously, they're still being closely watched by Talon, so he's trying to find different places to go and do research so he's not found, basically. So he finds this place in the Badlands of New Mexico that is just literally a giant power generator. Team Fortress 2 players might be familiar with this and know it as the Nucleus. The location has been long abandoned by now, and the technology is a bit outdated, but there's some notes left by someone called the Engineer that basically helps Winston restart the generator, and ultimately kickstart his work on recreating the chronal disassociation, trying to fix it. Permanently fix it. He does some more research, gets a lot of stuff together. So he ultimately recreates chronal disassociation with the machine and figures out how to replicate Tracer's accident, but also undo Tracer's accident in non-living matter. And he feels confident enough to bring Tracer to the facility to have her tested out in very small amounts, very small level. Conceptually like radiation treatment for cancer patients, hoping that small amounts of exposure over time will heal her. So she takes off her accelerator and goes into the machine, but she leaves the accelerator a little too close to the machine, ultimately making electrical interference when the machine starts up. So Tracer blips out of existence for a hot minute. And where does she blip to? 1969, Badlands, New Mexico. Right in the middle of the Nucleus point, right at the end of a Nucleus match. When Red Team is claiming the point, and they go into overtime, and then Tracer blips into existence in the middle of their group and she starts freaking out. And they start all freaking out. There's a power overload. Everything's falling apart. Then the team also blips out of existence. And where do they go? 2074. Uh-oh. That wasn't supposed to. So as Tracer's blipping in between years, Winston notices that her chronal accelerator is causing the fluctuation problem. And charges over, grabs it, just chucks it out of the way to stop the interference. Ends up smashing it in the process. That ultimately stops the interference. Then Winston works on taking power away from the machine to turn it off slowly rather than shut it down, and mess everything up. Then Tracer ends up coming back to 2074, but now surrounded by all the Red Team Fortress mercenaries on Nucleus. They end up having to de-escalate the situation, because looking around, they don't feel like they're in 1969 anymore. And they're like, okay, well, send us back. And Winston is like, I would. I just don't know how I got you here in the first place. That was a complete accident. I don't know. And Talon also detected the giant energy blast that the Nucleus sent out. And Athena warned him, we need to get out of here now. And Talon might be more connected to our mercenaries than anyone ever would think.